Just think. In 1933, in the United States, it was a crime for an ordinary citizen to own gold. Not just buying or selling it. Not just storing it. Even keeping it in your home was illegal. If you were caught with gold coins or bullion after the specified date, you faced a fine of $10,000, worth hundreds of thousands of dollars today, and up to 10 years in prison. People were forced, overnight, to hand over the wealth they had trusted for centuries. In return, they received only paper money. Because the state demanded it. Now put yourself in their place. The money you trusted. Savings passed down from your elders. Suddenly declared illegal. This wasn't a scam. It wasn't the work of a gang. It was the state itself. To understand this, we need to go back a bit in history. In 1933, America was in serious trouble. 1 in 4 people was unemployed. Banks were collapsing one after another. Everyone was trying to save whatever money they had. At the time, the dollar was tied to gold. In theory, you could take your paper money and exchange it for gold. When people panicked, they rushed to banks to demand their real gold. And the system couldn't handle it. Right then, Franklin D. Roosevelt became president. In front of him was an economy on the verge of collapse. He had to do something. And he had to do it immediately. On April 5, 1933, he signed an executive order. With this order, owning gold was banned for the public. People were told, "Bring your gold. You'll receive dollars in return." Most people had no choice but to comply. Some hid their gold, buried it, melted it down. But the vast majority couldn't take the risk. This is where the painful part begins. Shortly after collecting the gold, the government suddenly raised the price of gold. In other words, it bought gold cheaply from the people, then increased its value once it was in state hands. We can guess the result, right? The public lost. The state won. This wasn't a minor detail. The rules of money had changed. Thanks to this, the government could print more money. Spend more. Banks were rescued. The system survived. But who paid the real price? Ordinary people, the public. Think about this. Your grandmother has gold she saved over a lifetime. One day someone shows up and says, "These are now illegal." You hand them over. Then their value goes up. But they're no longer yours. This really happened. People sued. They went to court. But in the end, the state won. And a very important door was opened. In times of crisis, the state can change the rules of money. So why are we talking about this today? Because this isn't just a story from the past. In 2008, banks were bailed out. In 2013, people's bank accounts were seized in Cyprus. In 2020, money was printed, prices rose, and savings eroded. No one knocked on your door. But your money slowly lost its value. That is also a form of seizure. The lesson from 1933 is this. The rules are not fixed. In hard times, they can change. That's why real security doesn't come from money alone. It comes from knowledge. From awareness. History whispers this to us. If you don't understand how money and power work, one day when the rules change, you'll be caught unprepared. Knowing this story isn't about being afraid. It's about staying alert. And perhaps most importantly, when someone tells you everything is safe, remember 1933, and don't forget this video. If this narrative gave you a new perspective, subscribe. History already gave the answers. I'm just shining a light on them.